Welcome, today I'm going to show you how to wrap handlebars with fresh tape. First up, you'll need some new tape, then you'll need some way of cutting the tape, and finally you'll need some electrical tape. If like me you like things to match, you'll have a wide selection of tapes to match any bike colour scheme. Let's start by taking off the old tape. You will need to remove the old bung from the end of the handlebars. This one was simply pushed into the end, but you do get a type that's also secured by an Allen key. You will see that some of the tape overlaps the end of the handlebar. This is to create a neat end and also help secure the bung. Here is the bung that I've removed. You can see it has ridges on it which grips onto the handlebar tape. Next we need to peel back the brake hoods to reveal the tape underneath. Now time to remove the actual tape. Starting in the centre, remove the electrical tape that's holding everything down. With that removed, it's time to remove the actual handlebar tape itself. Depending on how long the tape has been on there and the type of tape itself, it might leave some residue or some sticky adhesive on the actual handlebar. Just work your way around, unwind the tape, and as you're going, inspect the actual handlebar itself. If you're looking for bends or nicks in the actual brake or gear cable, you're also looking for damage to the handlebar surface, which may have come from a crash or from salt from where you've been riding inside on the trainer. Pay special attention to where the brake lever attaches to the handlebar, because this is quite often where the salt builds up. You can see here that some of the foam backing has been left behind. It quite easily comes off though, rubbing it with my thumbs. If it's a bit more stubborn though, you might need to use a scraper, an IPA, better known as rubbing alcohol. We're now ready to put the fresh tape on. Grab your electrical tape, find the end and then attach it to your bike somewhere so it's easily accessible. This saves all the faffing around later trying to find the end with one hand. In the box that came with your tape there'll be two small extra sections of tape. You don't have to apply this, but it fills in the small gap around the brake lever. Place one end hard against the brake lever on one side, wrap it around, then mark it with the scissors on the other. Then take it away and cut it to size. Now offer it back up to the handlebar to double check it fits. Now grab your handlebar tape and remove the bung from the centre. Snip the plastic covering that's holding it all together. You will need to leave a small section of the handlebar tape overlapping the end of the handlebar. This is to create a neat end and give the bung something to hold on to. You need to wrap the tape in the direction that you twist the handlebars. i.e., when you're on the drops you tend to twist outwards. Work your way up the handlebar, trying to keep an even pressure on the tape as you go. You're trying to overlap the tape by about half the width of the actual tape itself. This can be tricky with some handlebars that have particularly tight bends. You might have to wrap and unwrap a few times to get it to look perfect. Take your time and do a neat job. When we get to the brake section we need to stop. This is where we'll add the piece that we cut to size earlier. Okay, this is the tricky bit. Place the offcut over the brake lever band that secures it to the handlebar. I'm making this look more tricky than it should be because I'm trying to make it visible for the camera. Hold the offcut with one hand and wrap the tape around, keeping the tension as you go. Try to keep a smooth transition as you loop round to the inside of the handlebar diagonally and up over the top of the brake lever. You'll now find that the offcut tape is now secure and you can move on to the rest of the handlebar. You'll want to create the same spacing of overlap as you move towards the stem. There are lots of different styles of handlebars and where you want to finish taping is up to you. Some have a groove or taper where it's obvious you should finish, and some have a flat aero top where some people prefer to stop taping nearer the brake lever. Once you get to the point where you've finished wrapping the tape, you want to cut the tape off square on the underside of the handlebar. This is to give a neat finish and have less chance of it unpeeling. You will find there's a small ridge created where the tape overlaps. Mark that with the scissors, then cut along the handlebar tape. Wrap the handlebar tape back around the handlebars and secure it with the electrical tape. You'll probably need to do 3 or 4 turns of the electrical tape to secure the open end of the handlebar tape. And again, to keep it neat and tidy, cut it off square at the bottom of the handlebars. And all the time, try not to stand in front of the camera. The last thing to do is to place the bung in the end of the handlebars. Poke the overlapping handlebar tape into the end of the handlebar and with your free hand push the bung in. This can be particularly tricky sometimes, especially if the tape is quite thick, so you might need to use a mallet just to persuade it in the last little bit. Now you just need to peel the brake hood back and you're ready to start on the other side. I would normally do both sides at the same time, i.e. take the tape off both sides then wrap both sides. But for the sake of this video I've shown you the whole process in one go. There are a couple of differences between the left and right hand side. I will fast forward the video and stop it at the appropriate points. If you're still unsure of which way to wrap the tape, have a look at the tape that you're taking off and see which way it's wound on the handlebars. The tape that I'm putting on is a silicone tape. I do a lot of riding off-road and I find even when it's wet the tape remains grippy. It's also good for using indoors because it stops the sweat penetrating. Here is the first difference when wrapping the left-hand handlebar. Overlap the end of the bar by half a turn as usual, but this time we're wrapping in the opposite direction, again outwards. By this I mean if you're looking down the handlebar from the back, on the right hand side you're wrapping clockwise and on the left hand side you're wrapping anti-clockwise. From this point onwards the wrapping is identical to the other side. Don't forget to keep the tape taut as you go. In the box supplied with the tape you'll probably find 2 strips of tape. These are designed to go where we've used the electrical tape, but I find these less flexible than the electrical tape and don't hug the contour of the bar quite as well. If you do want to add it, you can put it on top of the electrical tape and use it as a finishing touch. If I've missed anything out or you've got other tips and tricks, please add them in the comments section below.